Today I'm going to share with you 3 of the biggest mistakes that I made as a health educator that have cost a small fortune, and hopefully with the goal that you would be able to avoid these as you are learning to monetize your health knowledge online. And what we're going to be talking about is automation systems that I didn't have in place, things that I didn't even know was possible, but it was showing up in less people who are being served, less money in the bank account, and less influence of the people's lives that I was capable of serving. So one thing that I learned in my early 20s was a quote from Warren Buffett. He said that if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will be working until you die. And early on, there was a lot of the way that I was working. It was the only time that I got paid is when I was actively involved in doing something. I didn't really have leverage. I didn't have systems. I didn't have automations in place. If it was meant to be, it was up to me. Like if I didn't show up, then everything shut down. If there was something, I wasn't able to like travel and go speak and reach more people, because when I did that, then everything would shut down, and it was really challenging. So now I've been blessed to where if I travel and share somewhere, then our whole business doesn't shut down. And often it's able to grow in my absence and when I'm here. So even just recently, I turned 30. I turned 30 last week, and I'm reflecting on how things went. And because we have built this automations in place, I remember I was out there on the go-kart track, and I was while I was riding the go-kart with some of my friends, our business is able to keep going. So you could see it on the screen. We have webinars that are in place that are able to teach and educate people. We have content. I remember I was sitting there, I was sitting there in the go-kart, and I saw, it used to be that I had to, like, if I needed to post content, then I needed to be there to actively post every single thing that's going out there. And sometimes I would be consistent, sometimes I wouldn't. Things really started to take off when I was able to batch my content, schedule it out there, and then I see these posts that are going forward while I'm out there enjoying life, spending time with people I care about, doing what I enjoy, and then I see that I've got a reel of an interview I did with one of my clients who got their first $3,000 clients, and that's getting posted out there. And I remember the satisfaction a couple of weeks ago that it's just like, I love that consistency could be had where I'm able to continue with life. We've got paying subscribers who are on auto ships that are giving monthly payments. Like I always tell people, we got recurring bills. Why not have recurring income? Automate your income so that you have that bringing in. I'm going to show you how you could do that. One of the ways is by being able to create online courses. I can go throughout my life and day, and my clients are able to go through my courses. You record it once, and you could serve people perpetually from those videos. It's step-by-step lessons showing health educators exactly how to monetize their knowledge and to understand how to change a business. So those courses were life-changing to tap into. Even like supplement sales, by being able to partner with a company that's able to handle the fulfillments to go ship those out, people are able to buy, and we get paid the commissions for each of these supplements that go out, and where we're not making our own formula, we're not packaging our own boxes, shipping the stuff out, we're not storing a bunch of inventory, none of that stuff, because we've created an automated income machine. New leads are able to, as our videos are going out, people are coming in contact with our brand, with our message, our mission to help empower holistic health educators to get their message to the masses. And we're able to build relationships at scale. And each one of these pieces have been automated. And I'm going to share with you some of the mistakes that I made in getting to this place, and how you too can experience something that is similar for your business. One of the lessons that I learned from Craig Rochelle is he's a leadership mentor. I was listening to a podcast, and I really wanted to I wanted to know how can I do more in less time? And everyone around me, the leaders, they're like, let's do more in less time constantly. But what he said would radically change my life. Really, I had a come to Jesus moment with this quote, because I had to reevaluate my life, my choices, decisions, commitments, responsibilities. And I started to really analyze where am I? Where do I want to go? What's going on? And this quote changed my life for the rest of my life. I heard this in 2016. He said, great time management isn't about doing more in less time. It's about doing less better. And the less that you have, the less that you do, it has a greater impact on the organization, on moving the mission forward. And this was like completely opposite of what I was planning on doing or trying to do. I was trying to pack as much as I possibly could in whatever 24 hours I had. And it just left me overworked, overwhelmed, underpaid, and exhausted. And overcommitted. But that is, the shift helped me to be free to focus and really start looking at, okay, so it's not about how much can I do, it's about what is the least that I can do that's going to have the greatest impact. He started teaching me more about leverage, and really like this led me to be able to step down from a few positions I had and to be able to explore new ways to be able to service people that had more leverage. Because at the time I was teaching classes that probably had about 10 to 20 students in person, and I knew that there was more people that I could reach, that I could go beyond these four walls for my students, and I wanted to be able to reach others at a higher capacity. There was there's a TED Talk that I listened to by Roy Vaden, and it was really powerful, other life-changing one. I've listened to it well over 8 times. I've trained my whole team on it. Often I share it with my clients, and it's called How to Multiply Your Time. And in this, he's teaching us how to become multipliers who's able to do things that are what most people are not able to do. And it fundamentally shifts people's perspective. I highly recommend listening to it. It's free on YouTube. But one quote that he said in there is that anytime you say yes to one thing, you're simultaneously saying no to an infinite number of others. So this is powerful because a lot of times we have guilt, shame, or fear, or condemnation that we feel of things that we should be doing, but we're not. Or if someone's asking for a request, or they're asking for help here or there, and we're like, we don't want to say no, or we feel bad saying no. Time is a very much an emotional thing where there are emotions that we have to deal with. So what we end up doing is we say yes, 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 and we pile on all these responsibilities on our plate, and it stresses us out. So I learned that often it's your busy work that's stealing from your life's work. And where as long as we are feeling we're being busy, sometimes it feels like we are being productive, but busyness is not always productive. So what I had to learn to do is distinguish between what is actually productive, what is income producing, what is the high leverage things I could do, and what is just a busy work that takes up so much of the time. And at the end of the day, you're wondering why you didn't get as much done as you'd like to. So the first biggest mistake that I made was not automating my lead generation. You know, there's a lot on social media or different business owners, entrepreneurs. There's like this hustle culture that wants to tell you it's all about the hustle, or you're not hustling enough, you're not grinding enough, you gotta work, and all of this like work harder kind of ideas. I don't think it's really true, because if you think of an orange tree, what does an orange tree have to do in order to produce oranges? Does an orange tree have to hustle more? Does it have to grind? Does it have to force itself to try to make more oranges? No. The only thing that an orange tree has to do is to be an orange tree. And by being an orange tree, it's able to produce that fruit. So in like manner, like if we're wanting to generate more leads, we don't have to hustle and grind to try to find more people. We have to learn to be a health marketer. I had to shift from being just a health messenger to also learning to see myself as a health marketer, because marketing is getting your message to the masses. It's what helps other people to know that you even exist. And I really like these oranges because oranges are my favorite fruit. And in this photo, this was the very first time that I ever picked an orange off of a tree. I was on a speaking engagement over in California. I was 19 years old. It's back in 2014. And it was one of my first speaking tours that I went from place to place. And while I was over there, there was I actually had to leave home earlier. See, I was 19, I could share a message. I was doing cooking classes, health lectures, and this is actually the first time I did a cooking class because I was doing some health lectures and some others were like, what do I eat? What do I prepare? Do you know how to cook? And I was like, sure, I know how to cook. And they're like, can you teach me? And I was like, oh, wow, okay, sure, yeah. And I did some cooking demonstrations for them, and I realized that is where there was this need. But over here, I remember there was some event organizers that I met, and they loved how young I was. They loved how willing I was to share. And they're like, look, if you can stay here longer, I've already been over there for like a month, going from event to event to event, sometimes doing weeks, seminars. And they're like, if you can stay longer, we know a whole bunch of events that would love to have you speak, and we can fill your schedule with speaking engagements at these different neighboring cities if you're interested. And it's like my heart wanted to pursue these opportunities that were there right in front of me, but I knew that back at home, we had some operations that were not being fulfilled. We had DVDs that were not being sent out to people, as I have videos of people who are seeing and viewing these, and they're requesting DVDs, and I got to manually ship them out. And I had a team of people who were also working on projects, but they didn't know what to do because I wasn't there. So things shut down. And as long as I'm away, all the momentum that we've made in the local community, it wasn't really happening. So I was torn, and I ended up leaving California, going back to Southern Oregon to go pick up where we left off. And I just remember that feeling of how I'm like, there's missed opportunities. There's an inability to be able to capitalize or pursue opportunities that are available because I didn't have the automations and systems in place that are able to continue to work even when I could disconnect myself from the day-to-day operations. So I really like Ephesians 5:16. It says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. God wants us to learn, how can we redeem the time? The word redeem means to buy back, to purchase, to rescue from loss. So God is literally saying that we could buy back our time. There's ways that we don't have to spend the same amount of time doing all these things. And one of the best lessons, an early lesson that I learned from Kathy, a health educator, a mentor of mine, she was explaining to me how when you want to cultivate leads, or you want to not only generate leads, but nurture leads, nurture relationships at scale, then your relationships is very much like a garden. And if you're going to go away from your garden, they still need to be watered, right? So that's why people set up a drip system. And this drip system is a way that you're able to continue to drip water. And Ephesians 5 says that he might sanctify and wash it by the washing of the water by the word. So think of the water like words. It's like knowledge. It's like education, where as long as you take your leads, your clients, your relationships, and plug them into a source of knowledge, of learning, of education, where they get more product education, they get more stories, they get to learn more value from you, you're able to develop relationships at scale, and you're able to continue to spark their interest and water their desire for working with you and how you support them. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. So what does that look like practically in your business? That could look like when you're collecting a list of emails, you're able to send emails that are automated emails. You write them and you can send them out to people, continue to nurture those relationships. Or what I teach my clients is lighthouse content. Even this video right now, I'm recording it once, and it's going to exist for years to come on the internet that people are able to listen to, find value, be interested in, and I'm going to be able to develop relationships. Like we have Miriam, who's here live. I'm glad you're here, joining us on Zoom. And before she was on Zoom, she was watching these live videos, and she's able to, she's listening. I remember she commented, she's like, I love your coaching. I want to work with you. I want to work with you soon. And then she ended up paying me for our challenge that just ended. And it's a blessing. And at the end of the challenge, she's like, when I heard your videos, I instantly connected with you because I could relate to your story and your heart, your service. And that's exactly what you get to do with this drip system. And I was talking to another health educator, and I was sharing with her how she collects these business cards. She was sharing with me how she collects business cards, she collects contact information, she meets wonderful people, she travels and interacts with people, but then she loses touch. And I was sharing with her, that's why when I meet people, I don't just collect their business cards, I connect with them on Facebook. And while I befriend them on Facebook, then that is my drip system. By being able to continue to drop videos, add value, solve problems, post, and by posting on that platform, then I'm able to connect with people at scale, build relationships continually, and then they're able to reach out to me. I had a young man reach out to me, what was it? Yes, a couple days ago, and he said, you know what? I've been watching your videos and they have been so insightful and inspiring. It's encouraged me so much. And I haven't seen him for over a year and a half, but he's been plugging into my videos because that's the drip system. And so what's so beautiful to me is that I'm able to impact people's lives, challenge their limitations, help them to expand in to equip them to pursue their goals. And we can do that through this Lighthouse content, through having a drip system. So what we want to do in order to generate leads for a business, to be able to support those we're called to serve, is we want to plug in systems. In my book on high ticket health coaching, I talk about how systems is an acronym. It stands for saving yourself time, energy, money, and stress. How many of you want to save yourself time, energy, money, and stress? Comment the word system in the chat below. And what happens is we start to be able to connect with people and be able to continue to build those relationships because we've developed a system and it's created once and it's able to be done again and again. The system is a step-by-step process for producing a repeatable result. And that's the word repeatable. We're talking about consistency. Sometimes we post content one day and not the other. Sometimes we have leads one day and not the other. Whatever is lacking consistency in our business, it's a lack of systems. And where I believe it's the book Atomic Habits, he mentions how we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. So systems is the answer. In fact, one of the best definitions that I've ever found of business is that business is a system of delivering value to the marketplace. And I'd take it further and I'd say that the quality of your business and life come down to the quality of the systems you have or don't have. When you upgrade your systems, you upgrade your life, you upgrade your business, you upgrade your lead generation. Think about automation. Automation is very much like having a digital version of you answering questions, building trust, helping prospects say, I need this, I want that, I can do that. That's what automation does for you, because when you record these short videos, then you become you're like the number one, the best salesperson in the world for being able to sell your message, your products, your programs. It's you, and you're able to immortalize your heart, your soul, the value, your message by capturing this on video. A lot of health educators come to me. A lot of times they attend my challenge that I do every month on the first Thursday of the month, and they talk to me about how they travel, they speak, and they go places, but they're not recording them. And I'm like, you're not recording your videos? And they see that there's so much massive opportunity that if you record and publish, to be able to expand to so many more people, and they're just they do it once and they have nothing to show for themselves, and so they have to do it again and again and again as though it never happened. So that automation effect, really automation is the acceleration of your destination. The sooner we learn to automate, it frees you up to be able to focus on doing less better. But good news, you're still getting repeatable results. The result still happens. You're just able to, it just doesn't actively involve your time. So you can move forward to the next step. And in my book, I also talk about this automation effect. I have an entire chapter on the automation effect. Here's some things that you're able to automate in your business. These are the things that these are some of the systems that we plug into our health educators. When I'm coaching health educators, this is what I teach them. Number one, create a signature speech. One signature speech you can deliver again and again without losing its power of persuasion. And this signature speech is optimized to educate people closer to be able to see your value and add value, solve problems, connect with them, tell your story. And so they listen to you and they want to be a part of your program. Then number two, you could publish a book. By publishing a book, it's amazing how you could systemize your message, your content, the solutions you bring to the marketplace, and people read it, they listen to it. You could bring it at events. It can help you to book speaking engagements, even templates. Like even the slides that I have right now, these are template-based slides. I read a book called Virtual Freedom, and it was all about how to build a virtual assistance team, how to work with other team members to delegate online. And one thing that he mentioned is that he has a virtual assistant that helps create the slides. You think I made all these slides that are up here that I'm sharing from week after week in all my trainings? Absolutely not. I don't like the whole artistic and the colors and graphics and image and design stuff. Like that's not really my shtick. I use slides because I know that the visuals can be helpful for people, but as far as making them, that is not something that I particularly care to do. But the day I realized, I'm like, wait, you don't have to design your own slides? What? And I realized that there's slide designers out there who love doing that, are interested in doing that. That helped me to realize that I'm like, okay, I want to teach from slides. I just don't want to create the slides. And then the younger version of me, Enoch, that when it used to be if I needed to create slides, I'd learn how to make slides. If I needed to build a website, I learned to build a website. Needed to edit video, I learned to edit the video. Needed to record a video, I learned the photography and videography stuff. Like it was exhausting. And it's doing it all myself. It's just like doing more in less time. That's the wrong question. It's a total different paradigm shift to now start thinking is like, okay, well, can I eliminate it? Does it really have to be done? If it can't be eliminated, then can I automate it with a system, a template, a checklist, a AI tool now these days, a workflow? Is there a way that I could automate this? And if not, then, and it has to be done, well, does it have to be done by me? Can I delegate this? So one thing I found is by creating a template-based slides, this has allowed me to create more slides at scale so that and we give these templates to our clients to help them to craft their signature speech so that you're able to understand the psychology behind the purpose behind each slide, and you're able to use it to create persuasive presentations and craft your story in a way that's actually structured to instill, to transform their beliefs, their hearts from the inside out. And this has allowed me to make the decision once, hand it over to a team member, and they're able to plug and play my content, my ideas, my thoughts into these slides. And it really helps to leverage and automate these things. So they're created for me week after week. And then also even like booking consultation calls, being able to handle the scheduling so you're not going back and forth, trying to figure out the perfect time. Hey, I used to be like, I'm available Thursday, Tuesday, when it works for you. Thursday, okay, I'm available on 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Which one would you prefer? Okay, 4 o'clock, great, look forward to seeing you. And then we manually follow up. Hey, are we still down Thursday at 4? And all these things were manual. And if I didn't do it, whoopsie, falls through the cracks. And that could cost thousands and thousands of dollars in sales. But why manually do that when you could automate some of this process? And even creating content outlines and titles, there's formats, there's structures, there's decisions you're able to make content creation so much easier. Even coaching clients. One of the ways to be able to automate some of the coaching is by, when you coach people, record it, put it in your members area, and then give people access to these recordings that they can listen through, and then provide question and answers as people have questions or they get stuck implementing the on-demand training. You're there to help them every step of the way, but you're not repeating yourself constantly with every single client that you're speaking to. Even framework-based slides, like what I'm going through right now, this is a framework. I call it the automation effect. But by having these signature frameworks, these systems that you're able to teach people, and there's a problem, oh, there's a framework for that. And it's kind of like every problem, every objection is like a target, and then you've got arrows in your quiver, and each arrow is like a framework. So depending on this problem that they face, oh, there's a framework for that. So you pull out the arrow from your quiver and you go, boom, and you hit that target. There's another problem, here's another framework. So for every problem, you have a framework, and you're able to learn to have framework-based education. This really simplifies your content creation. It makes it so much easier, so you're never starting from scratch. Because that's something that struggling health educators do differently, is that struggling health educators are constantly starting from scratch. But successful health educators are starting from a framework, because you can have guesswork, you can have hard work, or you can follow a framework. And I'm often like, okay, where's a framework that I can invest in so I can get the understanding and apply it, so I never have to start from scratch. Someone's already figured this out. Let me go find that framework and plug it into my business. So the first biggest mistake that I made in my business was not automating my lead generation. By being able to help our clients to get automatic leads while their list is able to grow constantly, and people are being educated and nurtured, and relationships are being developed, and their reputation is growing, that people have greater trust and love and respect and belief that they can actually help them. This was absolutely game changer. And there's several strategies to do that. But the second biggest mistake I made was not automating my sales. Because once I had sales, like it literally, it used to be I'd go speak at an event and I'd have a clipboard and I'd actually like write down people's names, addresses, mailing addresses, and then I'd have their physical mailing address, and I'd have to like print out each newsletter, because some of the other speakers in my industry, they're like, you know, you need to build a newsletter. By having a newsletter, this is what's going to be able to bring more finances to your work. And I was like, really? And I heard that like 3 or 4 times by different people. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. So I'd write up all this newsletter, print it out, and I'd package it in the envelope, ship it all out. And all this stuff was manual. Now we have these emails that are able to go out every week, that are able to serve people, solve problems at scale, and add value. And people listen to it and they're like, I appreciate this. I love what I'm learning. This makes so much sense. And it's just like, while doing that too, you're able to make some offers. Say, hey, if you like the content, you want to dive deeper, then go ahead and be a part, like grab a VIP ticket to the challenge. Let's talk. Let's speak together. One thing that Roy Vaden said in this TED Talk that he gave, he said that automation is to your time exactly what compounding interest is to your money. Now, this is a really fascinating concept, because compound interest is sometimes known as like the 8th wonder of the world. This is how the wealthy get wealthy and the poor stay poor, because they don't understand compound interest or the compound effect in their money. And I realized that a lot of people wouldn't get this. So I want to give you an analogy that will help you to get, like, if you want time, if you wonder, like, how do people get more done in less time? They're not working. People who are making 1,000 times more than you are not working 1,000 times harder. They're not working 1,000 times longer, 1,000 times more effort, more hustle and grind. They're working with 1,000 times more leverage. Working harder doesn't guarantee you'll make more money. Working harder will guarantee you will get more tired. And the key to making more as a health educator is not working harder, it's working higher, in higher form of leverage, and tapping into the compound effect with your time, with your money, with your influence. And that's really what we're looking for, is building momentum. So I'll give you an example. Dave MacArthur, a millionaire mentor of mine, he asked me one day, he's like, look, Enoch, would you rather have $1 million today or a penny doubled for 30 days? So I'm going to ask you in the comments. In the comments, what would you say? Say penny if you would want a penny doubled every day for 30 days, or you would want $1 million today. Which option would you prefer? So yeah, the penny, and some people are like, penny, yeah. Why? Or some would say millions. Like, why would I want a penny? That's just a penny that can't possibly be worth that much in 30 days, right? So here's what will happen when that penny doubles every day for 30 days. Day 1, it's going to be a penny, of course, right? Day 2, you got 2 cents. And then by day 7, you're at 64 cents. Nothing fancy. What about day 14? By day 14, you're at $81.92. Cool. That could handle a couple subscriptions, or maybe like a good meal out with your family. And then day 21, now we're at $10,000. Now that's not close to $1 million, right? But so nothing too amazing yet. What about day 26? Day 26, we're now at 335,000. Wow, now we're starting to talk, but it's not quite $1 million yet, right? 27, we're at 671,000. 28, we're at $1.3 million. Now we just broke over the $1 million option. 29, we're at $2.6 million. And by day 30, you will have earned $5.3 million. So if you look at the difference, what you're really getting, like, this is the power of the compound effect. So the difference between $1 million and $5.3 million. Now, for those who said, I would have wanted the $1 million up front because it's $1 million, it seems like a lot, right? You would have walked away with $1 million. I would have walked away with $5.3 million because I understand the compound effects. And when you realize that automation is to your time, what the compounding interest is to your money, this is where things get mind-blowing, because you're able to really multiply your time, your results, multiply your life and business. So Roy Vaden, he talks about how you multiply your time by giving yourself the emotional permission to spend time on things today that will create more time tomorrow. Now, when we're talking about multiplying time, a lot of times people are like, well, we all have 24 hours in a day. You can't add more to a day, right? That's the problem, because we're so focused on just one day and the day's needs, a day's responsibilities, a day's requirement, and we box ourselves into this day, and we're constantly thinking about what is going to be this instant gratification, or what are the responsibilities we need to do to now, the most urgent at this time. That's like the $1 million. Well, we're going to take the $1 million and we focus on all this busy work, but when we start to add to the equation the future, tomorrow, and the hours of future years, we start to realize, by giving ourselves the emotional permission to be present, to focus on setting up an automation, creating a template, or learning to craft a signature speech. It's like sometimes I realize I got to tell myself, I'm going to give myself permission to go slower so I can go faster. So set it up once so that we'll never have to do that again. I remember like setting up this, I was talking to Shanice on my team, and we calculated that she's been doing this task. She's probably put in about 50 hours into this content creation scheduling task. And we figured out how, if we create this button on Notion, with one button, literally, we have to set it up to make it work, but with one button, we can save her from 50 hours of labor then in the future, and she'll never have to do that again. It really, and with with more accuracy, less mistakes, less inconsistency, and it's all automatically set up the way that we did. Now, at first, there was reluctance, like, well, it's like, I'm too busy to be doing something like that. But by learning how to set up that one button, it's now going to save those 50 hours, still getting the same result, but those 50 hours are brought back, or now they're bought back because we invested our time, right? So now we can go reallocate those 50 hours to doing something higher leverage, something that only Shanicia can do. So this is how multipliers think, is giving yourself that emotional permission, because it is an emotional thing. We feel guilty. We feel like compelled. We feel bad if we tell people no. But anytime that we're saying yes to anything, we're saying no to an infinite number of other things. The power of automation is that you build it once and you use it forever. And you're able to use that again and again. So I'm going to share with you what I call the asset equation. This asset equation, this is the equation to create income producing assets, and how, like, an asset is something that's able to work whether you're involved or not. It's like a machine that's going to continue to bring in leads and sales, and it's going to add value to the marketplace. This is your systems that's continually churning out results, clients, cash flow, creating value for people, content. So this is what it looks like. When you have mindsets plus skill sets plus tool sets equals income producing asset. It's in this order. If we first need to have the mind to automate. Like for me, my mind was all about how can I do more in less time. That was a lousy question. That was one of the worst paradigms that I could have that was keeping me limited. And I started to shift. Okay, well, how can I how can I do less better? And the less that I do has greater leverage, has a greater impact. That's a mindset shift. That's one of the reasons why I'm sharing with you some of the mind breakthroughs, the beliefs that I had to shift and adopt in order to be able to automate so much of our business today. and to get to the place that we are, because as long as we're manually doing it, and if we have these beliefs like, oh, I have to do it right, or the only way for this to work is I got to do it myself, then we're not going to do it. We're not going to learn the skills required. We're not going to prioritize the time to learn these if we don't have the mind to automate, the mind to create these systems. So one of the questions that in that TED Talk, he gave us what's called this focus funnel. And the focus funnel is so powerful. I've coached myself, my team. I've trained my brain to subconsciously go through all these questions. And one of the questions is every single task that you have to do goes through a funnel. And one of the questions is, can it be eliminated? Okay, because why do things that don't have to be done at all? So let's remove that entirely. The second question is, can this task be automated? And if the task can be automated, then let's automate it. But sometimes certain tasks are not able to be automated. And another question is really powerful, is can any portion of this task be automated? And I look at automation like it's a spectrum. It's not a toggle switch, either yes or no. It's wholly automated or wholly not. So if you think of on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being completely manual task, if you don't actively participate, if you're not doing it, nothing is getting done. That's the lowest, that's no automation. 10 is completely automated. It's out of sight, out of mind. It just happens. It's getting results going on, and that's cool. That's a great place to be in a lot of situations, but some tasks can't be fully autonomous without your oversight or guidance. So that's where we meet in the middle, where you might have automation assisted tasks or maybe AI assisted tasks. So that's where we're kind of reviewing, making sure things are getting done, or maybe there is some checks and balances in the system to make sure that things are going the right manner. So what's powerful is when you're thinking about your task, instead of just committing to it and doing whatever comes to your mind, and that's the recipe for living a distracted life, not fulfilling your dreams. Instead, learn to filter every task. Can it be eliminated? Can it be automated? Can any portion be automated? And if it can, then give yourself the emotional permission to say yes to things today, like templates, like systems, like frameworks, like new learnings that will multiply your time tomorrow. And this is the process that I've had to go through to be able to start automating some of our sales. So the second biggest mistake I made was not automating my sales. And just thinking of this probably costed several $100,000 in revenue for sure, because of the automations that are in place that are able to pursue opportunities are massive. When you're able to automate your business, there's no limit to what you're able to earn and the people you could reach. The third is, like, once I started automating leads, automating sales, getting more people to see the value and saying, yes, like, I want to be a part of this. I like this. The next part is the next mistake was not automating my fulfillments, because now it's about fulfilling on the promises that I made, because sometimes you overcommit and you don't want to overcommit, overpromise, and then underperform. That's going to hurt your reputation. One of the reasons why people continue to come to me, they buy from me, and they refer their friends to me is because I've built a reputation of consistently being able to help our clients, support them, and do what I say that I'm going to do. Our word is our bond. This is our brands, is who we are and our character, integrity. And if we stop doing that, then it erodes trust, and that's going to kill your business more than anything. So, but that fulfillment, sometimes it takes so much time. Like, I remember when I started sharing DVDs, it was probably in 2014, maybe 2015. And in order to make DVDs, I had to manually learn how to burn it on a disc. Then I got a master. Then I got these DVD machines that would burn 7 discs at a time, and I got to label them. I had literally thousands of DVDs you could see on the screen that I would be going through, and sometimes I'd stay up late in the evening just burning thousands of discs before I go to an event that I'm going to get out all these thousands of thousands of DVDs. And we would ship them. Sometimes we'd have an assembly line of people that are doing different stations and parts of the process. just to get these DVDs out. And then I got to store them and ship them out when people are interested in them, or package them off for our mailing list to ship them out in bulk. It was a mess. So then later on, I started to realize that I could actually have a members area. Instead of putting them on DVDs, I could put them in an online course on a members area that when someone buys, they get instant access, no wait time. They're able to plug into the trainings. And now we've got like a Netflix for health marketing. We've got a Netflix subscription that people are able to be a part of. They can learn, they can grow, they can understand these high income skills. We got things on automations, publishing their books, signature speech, all sorts of resources that help holistic health educators succeed that I didn't have before. And I remember there was a time that I was doing like 8 coaching calls, eight calls with people a day at least. And I would be coaching them through my breakfast, sometimes my lunch, because I'm working on this paradigm. I'm trying to figure out how can I do more in a day. And I was exhausted. I was overwhelmed. And then I started to realize, wait a second, there's more people out there than I can handle in this method, this paradigm that I'm working, and something had to change. So one thing I started to learn, I remember one time, so I switched from doing these one-on-ones, I started teaching people in a group. And my mom was like, you need to delegate, you need to build a team. And it's like, you can't do all this yourself. I'm like, who in their right mind would want to be a part of my team? Like, that I couldn't fathom that someone would be interested in helping me to get my message out to others. I just didn't think people would care like that. But my mom's like, put out a form, let people submit or apply to at least apply to join the team. I'm like, okay. So I put it out there. I started creating content. I said, hey, if you like the content, you feel compelled to be a part of getting this out to people, I put together a form, like fill it out and let's see if you could apply to join the team. We're looking to expand. And I was looking for a video editor, but I found someone who was like the IT manager of the department leader of IT over at home, working for Homeland Security for like the LA airport. She was very technical, very like, she understood a lot of technology stuff that I didn't. I was like, okay, wow, she's really qualified and knows all the softwares that I was looking for help with. And so I'm on the phone with her, and I was talking to her and I was showing her what this would look like, and she's like, okay, so where's your SOPs? I'm like, SOPs? What is an SOP? Is that like a spirit of prophecy like Revelation 19 talks about? Or like, what is an SOP? And she's like, what? No, this is a standard operating procedure. You need SOPs in your business. It's a step-by-step document that explains exactly how you do what you do. And they need to be so simple that your grandmother can follow the instructions. And I'm like, oh, I don't have SOPs. Well, let me get on that. So I start like trying to create and craft these SOPs, write them. I have no idea what I'm doing. I pull up a Google Doc and I just write down what I was doing, because what I ended up doing is I switched from doing a bunch of one-on-one with some of my students. I started serving them in a group, and I learned about group coaching. I'm like, wow, that's cool. And then I started doing one-on-one with team members who want to be a part of the team and be a part of this mission. And as I started doing one-on-one, it was like the same schedule, but she was teaching the SOPs is what's going to be able to help people to follow the instructions and do these roles and to delegate and hand them off to people. But that seems like a new skill, right? Like, it's easier for me to just do it myself than it is for me to create an SOP, a standard operating procedure that someone else can follow. But I had to give myself the emotional permission to be present so that others could learn. And eventually, like, I started to pursue that and create systems and learn how to delegate and how to work with people. And then now there are tools like Loom. We pay for Loom, and it will allow you to record your screen as you work on something, where before we had a team member who would watch the recording and document the steps, take notes of what each part would do, and that's the SOP. Now, Loom has this little button that you can click, write a document, and create an SOP within minutes. It'll use AI to transcribe. We used to like type out. Like, I learned how to type fast because I wanted to transcribe stuff. Now they got AI doing this, so we automated the transcriptions. And then they take the transcription and structure it into a step-by-step document based on what we said with screenshots. I'm like, this is mind-blowing. So here's actually my video training on our template-based slides, and that I recorded that for delegating to my graphic designer. But now it has the SOPs, and I'm like, wow, there's just automation all over the place, that the opportunities where we can do less better. And the less that we do has a greater impact and is producing more income on the organization and changing people's lives. So this was huge. I remember as I was learning how, in the beginning, like 2016, 14, 16, I started learning about leadership, delegation, and influence, casting a vision, how to build a team. And I started to just pour my heart, my soul, my everything into learning how to build a team. So I wasn't doing everything on my own. Craig Rochelle is one of the mentors who I learned a lot from. And he said this phrase, he said, do only those things that you can do and delegate the rest. I was like, that is so powerful. And I started doing that, and I learned to delegate some of these things that were not that I didn't have the skills or the ability or the time or the priority to focus on. But what I realized, like in hindsight, never delegate what you can automate. So really, you want to do only those things you can do and automate the rest. And if you can't automate it, then delegate. If I could do it over again, knowing what I know now, I would have prioritized more heavy focus on learning how to automate tasks with drip systems, with templates, with workflows, and some software or tools. Like, I would have learned how to automate a lot more of things that some of my team would have never had to do in the first place. So that's really what I've been learning about a lot more this last week, 2-3 weeks. It's been amazing, because even now there's like this new levels of automation that's incredible to me. But this is it. Like, even startup companies who are wanting to monetize their knowledge, learning to automate things will allow you to have a lean business that will allow you, like, when you hire a team, you can have better quality team. You have more resources to find better professional skilled, good teams. Like, a lot of health educators, a lot of entrepreneurs, they just throw people at problems. They're like, oh, there's a problem there. Let's put some team member on there. Let's hire for that. And they start getting this such a big team and managing all these moving parts that it doesn't have to be like that. By learning how to automate a lot of things that no human needs to do, then you're able to have the few that you work with be able to accomplish a whole lot more. And in fact, I believe that the future of the economy is moving in the direction where it's going to be one person who is leading an army of 100 AI agents, that each person, and we're still going to have human teams. We're going to be working with individuals, but each person, each human on the team will also have an army of 100 AI agents that are automatically working on things, but it's going to be within their field, within their realm of what they're doing. Like, a video editor is going to have AI agents to help them with editing the videos. We'll have a variety, we'll have like project managers, we'll have an army of agents that will help to manage tasks and projects and dates and calendars and people and processes, and they're going to have AI agents to help to leverage, to multiply what they're able to do. And each individual will be able to run and look at these AI agents that are, and automations are in place. So that's really what's kind of like happening in this shift of the economy. And so what I'm going to give you, like, we've talked a lot about automation. Now you're probably like, wow, what can I do? What is something I could do today? So I'm going to give you a framework that you can act upon. This is ACT that will help you to automate. The A stands for assess your manual tasks. Now, what you want to do is you want to look at what are the tasks that you do on a regular basis and write them down. And then C is choose the tools that saves time. Pick some tools that will help you to automate. It's for content creation. It might be publishing on Facebook, regularly doing that, or using AI to help come up with hooks or titles or some basic outlines. Or T is now train your system once, then trust it to run. And when you follow this act, this is really what I've done to help me to free myself with delegation, automation, elimination. So there's an exercise that I've taken myself and my team through, and we're going to be doing this even more as recently with these new automation tools we have, I call this a 3 list of liberty. If you want to free yourself to focus on what you enjoy most, what you do best with your area of expertise, then follow these 3 lists. The first list is what you do. This is what you actually do, your do list, and not what the dogs do. This is your actual like work that you're currently actually doing. That's the first list. The second list is your to-do list. Make a list of that. And when I say to-do, I mean, you know, the things that you plan on doing, that's all you wrote down that you want to do, you're going to do, you intend to do, but it doesn't seem like it actually gets done. That could be an indication that either one, you could eliminate it, doesn't have to be done, or number two, they could be automated. And something on your to-do list that you haven't really gotten around to, or maybe any portion of your to-do list could be automated. And then the third list is the things that you could do. These are things that you'd be willing to do, problems that you would solve, that you would like to solve if you were able to be freed from the things you do. The things that you're actually doing right now that is taking away from the things, the growth, the problems that you could be solving. Now, this really, like, automation is beautiful because it opens a door for you to be able to explore things you would have never entertained, because even the thought of that it would feel overwhelming. But because you're able to automate and be still responsible for reaping consistent results with automation, now you're free to focus on what's next. What's the next higher leverage problem to solve? So if you want help with this exercise, I've actually put together an AI prompt that you can use. Take a screenshot of this. Screenshot this prompt, plug it into ChatGPT, and all you got to do is change the brackets, what's gold in the identity. And this is going to teach you what are the things that you could automate in your business. So this is a prompt. In my business, I am an identity. So let's say like I am a naturopathic doctor. Create a list of 10 repetitive tasks in my business. Also give me helpful suggestions for tips and tools to automate each task. Take a screenshot, copy and paste this in ChatGPT, and be amazed at what are the types of things that you can automate in your business. So the 3 automation mistakes that I made in my journey of monetizing my knowledge online that hopefully you don't have to is number 1 is not automating my lead generation. Number 2, not automating my sales. And number 3, not automating my fulfillment. But when I started to get these things down, it's like, wow, business became manageable. It's so fun, the journey, and it's so fulfilling, the impact that we get to have with people. So if you want help with automating your business, understanding how you can plug in systems for growing your business, what I do is every month I have the High Income Health Expert Challenge, and it's specifically designed to help holistic health educators just like you to monetize your knowledge, to get your message to the masses so you could change the people's lives that you desire to change. Just comment the word health below and I'll send you a link, or you can go to the website highincomehealthexpert.com, text a number on the screen, the word health, and I'll send you a personal invite so you can be a part of this challenge where you can get, for 4 days, you can join live, get your questions answered, and we can dig into your business. What are the systems that are going to give you the greatest leverage, the greatest opportunity for you to really build your business and grow? We'll dive deep, and I'll make myself available, free up my calendar once a month, the 3rd Thursday of every month, where we get together with health educators and we get to learn from each other. So if you want to automate your business, if you want to apply any of the principles that we talked about, you can ask me any of these questions, and it's one of the best ways to get your questions answered in the VIP session. It's only $49 for the VIP. It's free if you join general admission, but either way, you're going to learn a lot through this process, and I look forward to seeing you there. And remember, friends, God doesn't call a qualified, He qualifies a called. Have a great day, and God bless.